Once upon a time, nestled in the heart of the valley of eternal tranquility, where towering mountains embrace the horizon like silent guardians, stood the Emerald City. It was no ordinary city. No, sir, it was built of precious stones that shimmered in the colors of the rainbow at sunrise and sunset. Its people, the pragmatists, were passionate about constancy and stability. They believed that perfection lay in immutability, in freezing the most glorious moment forever. Their sage, Master Kian, a wise old man with eyes that held the secrets of ages past, formulated this philosophy. True existence is eternal, he would say. Only things that do not change are permanent. So they embraced the law of eternal constancy. They built their houses and canals with meticulous precision, ensuring that every flower in their garden remained as fresh as ever, and that the river flowed with the same speed and rhythm. Every note in their music, every beat in their dances, every word in their songs, even the rhythm of their daily lives was precisely calculated, measured, and controlled. Nothing was left to chance or time. They wanted to exist outside of time. But what happens when we try to escape the natural order of things? What happens when we resist the flow of time and existence? The seasons passed, and something strange began to happen. At first, only a few elderly people who remembered the days before the law of constancy noticed. The rivers, whose flow they had sought to stabilize, began to carry more sediment and become less pure. The trees, which they had so carefully tended to maintain, began to lose their vitality and slowly wither because they no longer regenerated their cells naturally. The soil became tired, and the animals that had been accustomed to migrating found their old roots blocked or altered in a way that no longer suited them. Nature outside the Emerald City was moving and changing. Rains came and went, seeds spread and grew, rivers shifted their courses slightly, and the seasons passed, carrying renewal and adaptation. While the pragmatists tried to freeze the moment of perfection, life around them was in constant motion and evolution. When the drought began to strike the city, the pragmatists couldn't understand why. "We've kept everything as it is," Professor Chen exclaimed. "The river is here, the trees are here, so why isn't it raining?" They didn't realize that the water cycle was part of a broader movement, one that couldn't be fixed. Clouds form and move, rivers evaporate and return, and all of this depends on constant change. The situation deteriorated rapidly. The Emerald City lost its emerald luster because the stones themselves need to interact with the elements of nature to remain shiny. Cracks began to appear in their buildings, not because of an earthquake, but because the building materials themselves no longer renewed or adapted to the pressures of time. Even their spirits froze. They became afraid of anything new, isolated in their own shells. One stormy night, which they hadn't anticipated because they hadn't anticipated a significant change in the weather, the unthinkable happened. The rains unexpectedly increased in the mountains, and torrents swept away all the restrictions the pragmatists had placed on the river. The river was unable to adapt to this sudden change because it hadn't been allowed to do so over the years. The river overflowed, not because it was angry, but simply because it had no room to adapt to the renewed movement of existence. The waters gradually covered the Emerald City. It wasn't a devastating flood in the literal sense, but rather a slow, suffocating process. The pragmatists couldn't escape or adapt. They had forgotten how. They didn't know how to build new boats, find alternative routes, or learn from changes. They had frozen their ability to adapt. And so the once magnificent Emerald City became a hushed memory beneath the water, a relic of a people who dared to dream of eternity but forgot that true permanence is often found in the constant flux of becoming. As the water levels receded, revealing glimpses of the submerged city, a solitary figure emerged from the ruins, Professor Chen. His eyes, now clouded with understanding, reflected the fading light of the setting sun. He had lived through the ages, witnessing the rise and fall of civilizations, yet never had he seen such a profound lesson in humility. With trembling hands, he traced the contours of a cracked stone, realizing that even the sturdiest monuments are not immune to the relentless march of time. Around him, the remnants of his city lay scattered like fallen stars, each shard whispering tales of a misguided pursuit of perfection. The rain began to fall, not as a torrent but as a gentle caress on parched earth. It was a sound that had once been silenced, but now it carried a melody of renewal. In the rhythm of falling drops, Professor Chien heard the heartbeat of existence, a reminder that life is a ceaseless flow, an eternal dance between stability and change. He closed his eyes, letting the cool water trickle down his face, washing away the memories of a bygone era. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Professor Chien turned towards the distant mountains. His steps were slow, but his spirit was lighter. He understood now that the true secret of existence lies not in resisting change, but in harmonizing with it, in embracing the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. With newfound wisdom, he began the arduous journey back to civilization, leaving behind the ghost of the Emerald City, a solemn vow etched in stone and water. He would carry the lessons of the past to the people of the future, ensuring that the echoes of the drowned city would serve as a guiding light on their path to enlightenment. For in the grand tapestry of existence, every thread, no matter how brilliant or enduring, must yield to the inevitable tide of change. Only in this surrender, only in this acceptance of the transient nature of all things, does true wisdom lie.